Hare Krishna. Welcome to our program. Our speaker of the day is Shriman Gaurang Darshan Prabhu. He has done his master's degree from the prestigious Indian Institute of Science, Bangalore. Prabhuji is a disciple of His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj, who is a senior disciple of His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. He is also a member of ISKCON Examination Board and takes classes on Srimad Bhagavatam, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita and Vaishnav etiquettes. He has written elaborate workbooks on Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam and Chaitanya Charitamrita, with which the students can dive into intricacies of these great scriptures. He is a compiler of many other educational booklets and magazines, thus helping the seekers of Bhagavad knowledge. In all, he is a living encyclopedia of scriptures preaching the science all over the world, and who is exemplary and lives whatever he preaches. Come, let's hear him and try to imbibe the essence of scriptures as presented by him. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. The Samudra Manthan episode comes in the 8th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. It's one very unique episode of Bhagavatam where the demigods and the demons together work for attaining one end result. And the Supreme Lord Vishnu directly orchestrated this beautiful incident. Once Indra received a garland from Durvasa Muni, but he was not diligent enough to honor that garland. He gave that garland to his elephant Airavata. And Airavata, being an ignorant animal, trampled that garland under his feet. Durvasa Muni got offended, and Durvasa Muni cursed Indra and the demigods to lose all material opulence. Because of undue pride in his material position and wealth, Indra offended Durvasa, and he received the repercussions for such misbehavior with a great Brahmana like Durvasa Muni. Eventually, the demons attacked the demigods, and they have taken all their administrative powers and positions, and they defeated all the demigods. All the demigods, they went and took shelter of Lord Brahma, and Brahmaji guided them to take shelter of Lord Vishnu. Brahmaji and all the demigods went and offered prayers, heartfelt prayers for protection, and Lord Vishnu appeared in front of all the demigods. Vishnu appeared with such wonderful effulgence. His effulgence was resembling thousands of suns, and the demigods were mesmerized to see the beautiful form, effulgent form of Lord Vishnu. Then the demigods requested Vishnu, "Oh my dear Lord Vishnu, can you please help us regain our opulence and positions? We are defeated. All the demons have occupied our positions. They have usurped our wealth. We understand this is all because of our own misdeed of offending Durvasa Muni, but now we want to render service. So can you please help us in this situation?" Then Vishnu, because he is omnipotent, he can understand everything within the hearts of every single living being. He can completely understand under what circumstances all these demigods have lost their positions, and now they are humbling themselves and seeking shelter and guidance of Vishnu. Vishnu is very happy to provide it. Although sometimes the devotees of the Lord perform some misdeeds by mistake, still the Lord is very kind enough and accommodative to them. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, "Api chet suduracharo bhajate mam ananya bhak sadhureva samantavyaha samyak vyavasito hisaha." Sometimes even devotees of Krishna, devotees of Vishnu also may do some mistakes, but because they are rooted in their shelter of Krishna, Krishna will always protect them. Krishna promises that my devotee will never perish. Here the demigods headed by Indra, they have done a mistake, but ultimately they are meant to be protected by Vishnu because they have taken shelter of Vishnu. So they have done some mistake, but they have understood that they have done some mistake and they are admitting it, and now Vishnu is very kindly accommodating them. He is showing them the way to regain their opulence. So somebody may do some mistake, but still the Lord does not disown them. So mistakes are disapproved by sensible people, but a sensitive superior will not disown a subordinate. So Vishnu showed guidance to all these demigods. He said, "Oh my dear demigods, because you have offended a great Brahmana like Durvasa Muni, you are meant to receive this reaction. But there is a way to regain opulence. Why can't the demons continue to be in the positions? Why, if demigods lost their positions, why they have to regain their positions? Because demons are by nature very envious. They are very destructive in nature. They are so selfish. They are addicted to sense enjoyment. But the demigods are more self-controlled. Yes, they also have some shortcomings which may surface at times, but still the demigods are dedicated to Vishnu. They are humble and menial servants of Vishnu. They are the authorized representatives of Lord Vishnu, and whenever there is a problem in their lives because of circumstances or their own mistakes, they are humble enough to seek shelter of Lord Vishnu. They are devotees of Vishnu. So Vishnu always is accommodative to the demigods and he guides them on the right path. Now that the demigods humble themselves, Vishnu is giving them a very unique idea. He said, "Oh demigods, as long as you are not in your positions, you should be humble and you should make a truce with the demons. You all should go now to the demons and then make a truce with them, sandhi with them. You should make friendship with them. And I will give you one special idea by which you can attain nectar or amrita, and by drinking that nectar, you will get all power and strength and long life, and you will be able to regain your positions in the heavenly planets as the rulers, as the universal administrators." And what was that idea? Lord Vishnu said, "Oh demigods, you go to the demons and then make a truce, and together both of you should churn the milk ocean." There is this Kshira Sagara or milk ocean, and you should put herbs and other fruits and roots and vegetables and many other auspicious ingredients into this milk ocean, and you should churn the milk ocean. And what is the churning rod? To churn milk, you need a churning rod, and the churning rod is Manthara mountain. The Supreme Lord Vishnu suggested that you should use Manthara mountain as a churning rod, and you should churn this ocean. To churn an ocean, you need a big rod. And what is the churning rope? The churning rod is tied with a rope, and then on both sides the rope is pulled so that the churning rod will rotate and churn the milk, and the nectar will come out. Just like you churn yogurt and butter will come out. Similarly, the plan here is, if the demigods and demons together churn the milk ocean with Mandara mountain, from that milk ocean nectar or amrita will manifest. And what is the churning rope here? Vasuki serpent. There is a great serpent which is so long and strong, and the name of the serpent is Vasuki. You can use Vasuki as the churning rope, you can use Mandara mountain as the churning rod, and you can churn milk ocean to produce nectar. And you should all promise these demons to saying that you can give a share of that nectar to them also. So you will work together, and then you promise them that you will share the result of that work also together, the nectar. However, Vishnu never intends to give nectar to the demons. Demons are by nature demoniac and very envious. So if an envious person is given so much of facility and immortality, his envy will increase, his influence will increase, and they will unnecessarily cause a lot of disturbance to the society. Thus, Lord Vishnu never intended to give any nectar to the demons, but he just wanted to engage the demons along with the demigods in the churning of the milk ocean, because the demons are in positions now and demigods have to regain their positions now. So together they were churning the milk ocean. He gave a simple example also. The example was, use the snake and mouse logic and then make a truce with them. So once a snake and a mouse were captivated within one basket, and mouse has the ability to make a hole in the basket, but the snake does not have the ability. So thus, for the snake to escape from the basket, the mouse has to help the snake by making a hole in the basket. However, within the basket, the life of this mouse was in danger, because the snake can easily swallow the mouse. So the life of mouse is in snake's hands and the life of snake is in mouse hands, because mouse has the ability to release the snake. The mouse had made a truce with the snake. So the snake told the mouse, my dear mouse, if you make a hole in this basket, then we both can escape. I will not eat you. We both can escape from this basket. You go in your way, I will go in my way. So please release me. On my own, I won't be able to release myself. So the plan of this snake was, if the mouse makes a hole in the basket, the snake can escape from that hole and the snake can also eat the mouse. So that was the plan. So here the Lord has expertly engaged all these demons also in the activity of churning the milk ocean along with the demigods, and the plan is, the result of this whole work, result of this whole endeavor in the form of nectar should be available only to the demigods, not to the demons. Isn't it cheating? The Lord is cheating. How can God cheat? How can the Supreme Lord Vishnu present a plan to cheat some people, and how is he exhibiting that partiality towards the demigods, and how can he cheat the demons? So the reason is, demigods are very righteous. They have taken shelter of Krishna. They have taken shelter of Vishnu. They are the devotees of Vishnu. So when somebody is a devotee of God, naturally he will get more attention from God. But the demons, they are unrighteous, they are selfish, they are envious. That's why they are not getting. But the Lord is engaging them in this work, but they don't get any result. So the Lord conceived this whole plan and told the demigods, you all must go and make a truce with the demons. And one more thing, now the demons are more powerful than you demigods. So whatever demands that the demons have, you all should say okay. You should agree to their demands, and whatever products are coming out of this churning of milk ocean, you all should not be greedy for those products. You should have patience, you should have tolerance. Only with patience and tolerance you can attain success in any mission. So when some little product comes out of churning of milk ocean, if the demigods become so greedy to captivate that product and enjoy themselves, there could be a dispute between the demigods and the demons. At this stage, the demigods and the demons are meant to cooperate with each other for a higher purpose. Now, there is a very important message embedded within this whole important episode. The message was, for a higher purpose of producing nectar, even the demigods and the demons came together. The demigods and demons are always opposite in nature. Whatever the demigods say, the demons have to say the opposite. Whatever the demons do, the demigods will automatically do the opposite, because they are righteous people, they are good people, and these are bad people. So although their natures are inherently totally different from each other, still the Lord's expertise is He brought both of them together to work for a higher purpose. So if that is the cooperation exhibited by two groups of people who are totally different in their natures, what to speak of cooperation between two devotees of God or two people in the same group? So one should be very cooperative with others. So the principle of cooperation, principle of compromising on our own opinions or needs for fulfilling a higher purpose is very important to achieve success in anything in our lives. So the demigods and demons through this whole episode of Samudra Manthan are giving this beautiful lesson to us. So as instructed by Lord Vishnu, all the demigods went to the demons. At that time, the king of the demons was Bali Maharaj. Bali Maharaj was the grandson of the greatest devotee Prahlad Maharaj. Actually, Bali Maharaj also would become a great devotee, pure devotee of Lord Vishnu. Somehow Bali Maharaj took birth in this demoniac dynasty and he has become the king of the demons. So all the demigods went to the demons and they asked, "Oh my dear demons, can you please hear to our humble proposal? We have a very unique and special idea. We are all instructed by the Supreme Lord. So now we are presenting our special proposal in front of you. So we want you to hear it with patience. Please don't become angry." There are some demons who were very aggressive. As soon as they saw the demigods, they wanted to fight with the demigods and they wanted to kill them. But Bali Maharaj, being a very mature person, he controlled all the demons. "Oh demons, these demigods are coming to us to make a truce. They have no intentions to fight with us. So how can you attack a person who has no intentions to fight? So the demons, you are not supposed to attack the demigods. So please be peaceful." When Bali Maharaj requested the demons like this, the demons became a little peaceful. Then all the demigods went to Bali Maharaj, Indra and all the other demigods. So they went to Bali Maharaj and said, "Bali Maharaj, we have a simple proposal. So let us combine with each other and together let us churn the milk ocean. If you churn the milk ocean, nectar will come out of it. This beautiful amrita will come out that will increase our lives, that will increase our strength and that will increase our overall lifespan and influence. We will become immortal. So can you please cooperate with us? Together let us churn this milk ocean and we will share whatever is the result." But the demons were thinking, okay, now they are coming for a truce. They have the idea, so they want our support. So the demigods requested Bali Maharaj, "Please hear our proposal. So we both should together churn the milk ocean. All the demons and the demigods will together endeavor to churn the milk ocean and the result will be nectar that will make us immortal. Whatever nectar comes out, we both will share with each other. So we will take it 50-50. But the demons were thinking, no, we will engage these demigods in churning process and when the nectar comes out, we will only capture all this nectar. We will not give any share to the demigods. Of course, demigods also came to the demons with the similar intentions. Both had the propensity to cheat each other. So the difference between these two parties is the demigods were supported by Lord Vishnu, but the demons were not devotees. Demons were not devotees of Lord Vishnu, they are atheistic, they are averse to a sense of subordination to Lord Vishnu. That is the difference. But the demigods and the demons both had a plan to take nectar for themselves. They both did not want to share the nectar with the other party. So this kind of cheating, diplomacy and duplicity are there in higher planetary systems also. Definitely average common human beings in this material world cheat each other. They have that cheating propensity, but these propensities are there in the higher planetary systems also. And sometimes to achieve a good result, even such noble people like demigods also may adopt to diplomacy or cheating other people. So cheating for a higher purpose may be okay, but cheating ordinarily for one's own selfish purposes is not good. Here this whole cheating is ordained by Supreme Lord Vishnu directly. Vishnu is directly instructing the demigods to cheat the demons in this way, because demons are envious by nature. They are not meant to be sitting in the positions of universal administrators. For a higher purpose, if it is unavoidable, if it is so necessary, a noble person also may adopt to some diplomacy or some cheating as ordained by the Lord here. All the demigods and demons then went to Mandara mountain and they wanted to uproot this Mandara mountain and bring this mountain to the milk ocean. At that time, many demigods, strong warriors on either sides, on both sides, they wanted to lift the Mandara mountain. They are unable to lift it. They tried to uproot it and they wanted to lift it. As they are lifting, because the Mandara mountain being a gold mountain, it is so heavy. So in their attempts to lift this mountain, many demigods and many demons lost their limbs. Their shoulders and their arms and their legs were cut. They collapsed, being unable to lift this mountain. So at that time, seeing the piteous condition of the demigods and demons, seeing their inability to lift this mountain, the Supreme Lord Vishnu came. He appeared on the scene on the back of Garuda. He saw these demigods and demons lying there with broken thighs, broken arms, and the Lord, with his deep illusory mystic potency, he has revived all the demigods and he has revived the demons also. He revived both parties. He did not show partiality in this case. So at every moment, one need not exhibit one's favoritism near and dear ones. So here the Lord is equally disposed to both parties because both parties have agreed to work for this project. So the Lord revived both the demigods and the demons and he effortlessly lifted Mandara mountain and kept this Mandara mountain on back of Garuda. Garuda was the bird carrier of Lord Vishnu and the Mandara mountain was kept on the back, and all the demigods and demons were also kept on the back of this Garuda. And Garuda, the Supreme Lord Vishnu, the demigods and the demons, all of them together came to the shore of this milk ocean. So when they all came to the shore of milk ocean, the Supreme Lord Vishnu told Garuda, "Oh Garuda, now unload this Mandara mountain and you should go away from this place." Why? There is a historical incident. In the universal history, there was never a time where the ocean, milk ocean was churned. And who is churning it? The demigods and demons together are churning it. In such a historical incident, how can the Lord deprive Garuda to witness it? So, but Garuda was told, you should go away from this scene. You cannot be witnessing this churning of milk ocean. Why? There is a reason. The reason was that the serpent named Vasuki is going to be used as churning rope during the Samudra Manthan, during the churning of milk ocean. So when this Vasuki serpent is being used as churning rod, Garuda, being a great eagle, may want to just attack this Vasuki, because serpents are the natural food of eagles. So the Lord said there should not be any unnecessary dispute between Vasuki and Garuda. So, and that should not cause any disturbance to this whole endeavor of Samudra Manthan. So let Garuda go away from this scene. Although it is because of Garuda only, all the demigods and the demons and Mandara mountain also came to this ocean of milk, and still the bird carrier of the Lord Garuda was so detached enough to go away from the scene. So sometimes the devotees are instructed by the Lord in very peculiar ways, but the devotees are so malleable to the will of the Lord, and the devotees are very cooperative with the will of the Lord, and they just move away from the scene. Here Garuda just departed from the scene and the Lord commenced the activities of churning of milk ocean. Hare Krishna.
For more such devotional programs, please watch Hare Krishna television. To get this channel, please contact your cable or DTH operator. For more information, please call 8767 845 845.